Hello, and welcome to Sexy Action Economics. I'm Wyatt Rodriguez, and this is my co-anchor, Phoebe Hill.
Hello, thanks for the intro, Wyatt. Today we'll be addressing the U.S. economy and a few points on why it is so volatile. The United States has the largest and most technologically powerful economy in the world, with a per capita GDP of $49,800. In this market-oriented economy, private individuals as well as businesses make the decisions, while federal and state governments manipulate the puppet our economy by buying needed goods and services with techniques such as subsidies and outsourcing. Now we will look a little deeper into our outsourcing and our economy with a special guest.
Most Americans are familiar with the term outsourcing, but not many know about the newest trend of insourcing. Let's hear from our specialist, Elizabeth Sandoval, on the subject of GM bringing back jobs to the U.S.
Insourcing is a new trend, and many say it's all because of GM. General Motors decided to bring 10,000 IT jobs back to the U.S. over the next 3 to 5 years. It is definitely the biggest mover in the emerging insourcing trend. Other major U.S. companies are following the trend, such as GE, Starbucks, and Caterpillar. Why? Most increase over overseas patriotism. Those are both parts of the reason, but mostly it has to do with changes in the IT market. Changes in the market include bigger domestic talent pool outside Tier 1 cities, the use of video conferencing to make distributed teams highly productive, and the overall maturation of the outsourcing market. All of this started on October 10, 2000, when President Clinton signed the Permanent Trade Agreement with China. His original idea was to continue production on the U.S. soil and sell to China. Outsourcing raw materials and jobs was never the plan. Although this clearly sends many manufacturing jobs to China, it can be argued that we bring the jobs back in the retail market. In fact, many argue that more jobs are brought back than are sent. This cycle could be either negative or positive, but there is no way to accurately calculate which it is. Back to you, Phoebe.
Interesting how that Chinese market has progressed over the years. They're just finishing up their industrial revolution. The city of Shenzhen has gone from ultimately rice fields to being China's manufacturing center in a mere 20 years. It will be interesting how the next 20 years will go. Will the city of Shenzhen continue to grow, or will this new trend of insourcing widely affect China's manufacturing market? We can only hope for more jobs for our fellow Americans, however that may be.
But Phoebe, we also have to think about what the people want. Governmental outsourcing isn't the only factor affecting our market. For instance, Walmart now documents what products sell most so that they are able to stock their shelves accurately. They then tell the manufacturer what they want and how they want it. In order to be able to meet these needs of the customer, manufacturers must be able to perform quickly and cheaply. China offered this to us and we accepted. If we could perform as cost efficiently in the U.S. as they can there, we would. In terms of legalities, we should just turn our shoulder and bring in the goods.
That's right, you're correct. Now let's look at some other governmental regulations that have had an enormous impact on our economy. Here we have Dylan Walker and Trent Postma to speak on corn subsidies throughout 2 different markets.
Thank you, Phoebe. Many government regulations don't end up as planned. The ethanol mandate in the U.S. Renewable Fuel Standard was meant to reduce dependence on foreign oil, create cleaner emissions, and decrease gas prices. The reality is, none of those things happened, and on top of that disappointment, we have increased food prices. You might be thinking now, why an ethanol mandate leads to food price increase? The reality is, ethanol increases ultimately lead back to corn subsidies. Ethanol mandate takes up about 40% of U.S. corn and 15% of global corn supply. Nationwide, ethanol has been driving up food prices, which is simply a consequence of plowing 40% of food supplies into gas tanks. Corn is used in everything, and the more that goes to gas, the less we have for food.
While this is happening in the oil industry, the agricultural industry is also demanding more corn, leading to an even bigger subsidies from the government. Why, you may ask? Well, farmers have figured out that if they feed cattle corn instead of the usual grass, not only is it more cost efficient, it will also cause the cows to bulk up much faster. Ideally, this would decrease meat prices, but as Dylan has mentioned, the corn subsidies on the oil front cause food prices to increase.
That sounds like it turns into a vicious cycle that has never a definite pro or con factor, much like the outsourcing that Elizabeth spoke about.
That is exactly what it is, and unless one of the markets demand less corn, nothing in the future will change.
Indeed. Thanks, Dylan and Trent, for your input on the corn subsidies. What's next, Wyatt?
Looks like we're out of time for the day. I want to thank again our special guests, Trent, Dylan, and Elizabeth. That's all for today, folks. See you next time on Sexy Action Economics.